Imagine waking up at 4 in the morning, miles from the nearest town. The entire house is silent until you hear a deliberate, rhythmic tapping of fingers against the window glass. We assume our homes are secure. We pull the blinds, turn the deadbolts, and trust that a layer of wood and glass will keep out the rest of the world. This diagram maps a standard home's defense network. Security comes from proximity to surrounding nodes, police stations, neighbors, and cell towers. When external connections disappear, the threat changes. We'll track 3 intrusions, charting a path from dense suburb to absolute off-grid isolation. Geographic distance from a community does more than increase response times. It dictates the specific strategies used by the people waiting outside. Our first case takes place in a statistically safe suburban neighborhood. A 12-year-old boy is left home alone for the evening in a town where parents rarely felt the need to lock their doors during the day. The threat begins with a routine pizza delivery. As the driver hands over the change, he breaks social protocol, peering past the boy into the dark house to ask if he is home alone. Hours later, the boy realizes the intruder has bypassed the front door. The man found a way inside through an unlocked sliding back window, moving from the yard into the kitchen in seconds. While his mother calls the police on another line, the boy hides under a bed. He listens to footsteps pacing the hallway and the sound of the bedroom doorknob being tested multiple times. In a dense suburb, the intruder operates on a ticking clock, knowing neighbors or a patrol car could appear at any moment. This proximity makes the interior bedroom door the absolute final line of defense against a rapid attack. The geography shifts to a rural border, an Idaho backcountry home pressed directly against millions of acres of national forest land. Out here, the intruder has the luxury of time. While home alone, a teenager looks at the sliding glass door and sees a man in filthy clothes standing inches away, holding a knife and wearing a wide, fixed smile. Instead of a quick breach, the man begins weeks of patient surveillance. Night after night, the boy hears metallic tapping against the glass and finds fresh footprints in the snow circling the entire property. The situation ends only when the boy steps onto a second-story deck with a shotgun, fires a warning shot, and releases a Rottweiler into the woods to force the stalker back into the tree line. Without immediate police presence, the resident must act as the deterrent. The property line requires constant, active enforcement, effectively serving as a literal battleground. The final extreme is a deeply isolated South Carolina cabin. GPS fails an hour before arrival, cell service is non-existent, and the occupants are separated from the nearest town by miles of dirt roads. At 4 a.m., a group of college students is awakened by a rhythmic tapping. They find a pale, shirtless man with wild hair pressed against a ground floor window, staring inside with his mouth open. Despite locking the doors, they find the man standing inside the kitchen the following night. He is naked, his back is covered in deep scratches, and he has entered without force, as if the house itself offered no resistance. The man stands in the dark, swaying back and forth while staring blankly at the refrigerator. He shows no fear of the occupants and no concern about being caught. Deep in the backcountry, the architectural defenses of a home failed to provide their intended function. The structure sits as a fragile wooden box in a wilderness governed by predators. A single thread connects these 3 intruders. They were not supernatural entities. They were calculating human beings who recognized and exploited geographic blind spots to their advantage.
This chart compares the legal outcomes of these cases. Across all 3 geographic zones, the prosecution rate is 0%. The suburban delivery driver could not be proven guilty. The Idaho stalker vanished into the forest, and the South Carolina intruder was dismissed by a deputy as a local hazard. The terrain itself complicates the investigation. Intruders utilize the surrounding environment, from suburban alleyways to millions of acres of forest, to create an untraceable exit. The victims survived their physical encounters, but they are left questioning the integrity of their own walls. They live with the knowledge that their sense of safety was tied to a grid that failed them. Wherever you live on the geographic spectrum, physical walls cannot change the reality that someone, somewhere, is capable of looking back through the glass.